Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. Immediately, Gianni, I've noticed I've got the wrong screen on, which is, honestly, I was saying to you earlier, I played football last night. It was a pretty intense game and it's just absolutely broken me. So anyway, screen's fixed. The screen's fixed, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, good to be here. It feels like it's been a while, but I guess we did speak last week, but it feels like so much has happened because we obviously had an eventful game week and we were in the middle of an international break back then where things were just a little bit slower. But now we've had fixture announcements. We're still in the current game week. There is I know it's like cliche to say it, but when we talk about the business end of the season, it is always after that last international break. And now we are really in that final stretch. And it is the business end of the season. And I'm excited by that.
And it's been a weird week so far. I mean, Chelsea getting absolutely thrashed by Brentford, Newcastle getting thrashed by Spurs when we thought, they'd kind of give them a bit of a game. It's been another weird week. And then we've got Europe coming, we've got the Champions League, we've got the FA Cup to come. It's the business end, but it's a tricky end, as we're going to see when we're going to look at your team and look at the fixtures and everything like that, because this is where planning really kind of comes in. Do you like this period of the season? Are you a fan of the kind of the last few weeks?
I really am. I love the last few weeks and I love the final day. I'm like, as you get closer to that game week 38, not just for footballing reasons, because it's like who's going to go down, who's going to get top four, but FPL on the final day with 10 fixtures at the same time is it's the only time it happens. In years gone by, we've had deadlines an hour before where you get a bit of team news like game week 38 and there's so many rumours and you don't know what to believe.
Last year, Trent and was it Salah? Trent and Salah both out? Yeah.
This year, they put the deadline. I don't know if they're going to change it, but I know it's been an hour and a half before, which we expect it to be on game week 38. But currently on the FPL website, it's 2.5 hours before. And I don't know if that's something they need to change, but I don't know if they've looked at it and gone, game week 38, we're going to put the deadline even further ahead because of those leaks. I don't know.
That is interesting because I mean, even there's been leaks. Like this week. Who was it this week? It was Trent, wasn't it?
Liverpool,
we got the news about Trent sort of being on the bench. Even with that kind of extended deadline, so it hasn't completely kind of solved the problem, but I mean, how far back do they put it? Put it back 3, 4, 5 hours before?
It's currently 2.5 hours before, which would stop any leaks. But I don't know. Yeah.
Hi to everyone in the chat. Lots of people asking about Chips, which is the name of this podcast. I mean, if you're looking for advice from Gianni about when to use your chips, you're probably not the right person to ask because you're having a bit of a think about it, aren't you? What's your current thoughts?
I have got 2 free hits and that's it. But it seems like I would much rather have a free hit and a bench boost, like those two, sort of, 36, 37 or 37, 36. The 2 free hits, I am definitely using look, if I could, I'd use them in 36 and 37. I can't. You can't use them back to back. So it will be one of them in probably 36, possibly 37. And then the other one is between 33 and 38. So do I go for the 33 doubles? Or do I go final game week of the season? Now, if I go final game week of the season, which I do like, game week 38, I have to then go 36. I can't go 37. But if I did that, I could sort of dead end my team to 37, which means I'm almost dead ending to 35, 37, bringing in players that have good 35 and 37 fixtures. So it would almost feel like, in a weird way, 3 hits in a row to finish the season, which could be pretty cool. But look, I guess the obvious one would be to identify game week 33 because there are some nice doubles in there. But at the same time, my team looks so good already for 33 because I've got Liverpool and Spurs players with really nice single fixtures. And I don't want to be dropping even my City guys. I've got Cancelo. I don't really want to be dropping those guys. So I don't think a free hit in 33 is going to look too different to my current team. So I probably won't actually make a call on it until next week.
It's tricky, isn't it? Because I mean, we've got on the screen is a kind of yet another fixture ticker, which this is one that Lynn and I have been working on. Lynn's a designer, so she's seen them all and wanted to kind of put her own one out there, and I've been kind of helping with some of the Excel stuff. But you can see 36 and 37. These are the kind of the doubles that kind of dropped in. And to me, the big question about when to use the free hit is what happens with that City game. Right? Because City are either going to have a double in 36 or 37, depending on the FA Cup. you'd think they're going to be in the final. So you'd think it's going to be in 37 unless there's a shock. So that would be given West Ham and Wolves away. I haven't got any City players in my team at the moment. You've just got Cancelo. That's going to be the real kind of last couple of weeks. You've got to think it's still going to be close between City and Liverpool. You've got to think City are going to win that. And then, you've got other decent game weeks in that week as well. You've got potentially Palace with Villa and Everton, again, depending on what happens with Palace in the Cup. Leicester, you've got Watford in there, and Chelsea. Villa, 2 home games.
Villa could have a nice double there, that could be a bit differential.
Exactly. There's some teams in there which I don't think there's going to be a lot of investment in that I think that the free hit could be really nice if things fall into place. It's all down. This is the thing. It's
all on Man City, though.
It is.
Because Man City aren't in 37. You look at some of those teams you've just mentioned, and whilst they're not got nice doubles, that would mean dropping a huge amount of premium players from your big 3 or big 4 teams. But if City are in there, it's kind of you cover those premiums with your City players. We're not going to know about that City double until when? Until after the semi-final. So when will that be? What game week will that be?
Will that be 33?
So we won't know till after 33, which is a shame because I need to know before 33 because it affects whether I free hit in 33 or not.
Yeah, well, you won't.
And I'm not going to know that. So it's just, do I think Man City beat Liverpool in the FA Cup semi is kind of what it comes down to if we think that double goes in. But it's also dependent on West Ham versus Lyon. Because I think if West Ham are going to qualify, then I think that, again, puts it in 37. I think. I need to double check that. But
yeah, if West Ham qualified, then that Man City game gets moved and then that double doesn't happen anyway. There's so much that can kind of happen. I mean, 36 is the kind of easier looking one to kind of plan around. If you've got one left and you're thinking about 33 or 36, because we know Leicester have got a good double against Everton and Norwich. Yeah. We know teams like Chelsea have got Wolves and Leeds. You've got Villa with a double, Burnley and Liverpool, and you've got Liverpool with a double as well. So you could take a punt on someone like Diaz or Jota, depending on who you think is going to start. So that's the kind of the safer option, right, in 36. But I think 37 could be, if City do get dropped in there, I still think that's probably where I would look to use it. But what are you thinking about 33 then? Are you thinking? Because last time you were saying no to 33.
Last time I was saying no, and that's because I thought we were going to get a couple of doubles in 34, 35. And when we got the fixture announcement in the week, I was actually really disappointed that everything got put in 36, 37. I was hoping, as per some of the predictors out there, that we might get some in 34, 35, and I could double in one of the smaller doubles, free hit in 34, 35. I'm probably ruling 34 out now, unless Chelsea do get a double in there, which again is unlikely. So that makes me want to consider free hit 33 a little bit more. I never loved 33 and I still don't. And again, it's a little bit like I mentioned previously about some of those single game weekers, premium players that we own, the Spurs players, the Liverpool players, even possibly your Chelsea or Man City. You want them in that game week 33 because they've got nice fixtures. So yeah, sure, I'd go after United. But I'm not sold by them. I want to see them play Everton this weekend. If United go and score 5 goals against Everton, it's like, okay, this is the United team now that we can maybe trust against Norwich at home, and they'll go and score 5 against Norwich, and you can go big on them. But unless we see a bit of form, I'm not sold on it. And look, outside of United, we're talking about free hitting for Newcastle players, for Leicester players, which won't play in both games. It's a little bit meh. I'm not sold by Leicester. Certainly because of the fixtures, and I'm not sold by Newcastle or Burnley. So I look at it and go, if it's not there for United and Arsenal players we've got anyway, right? So I don't know. I might, if I don't free hit, I will still bring in a United midfielder. I could go Havertz to Sancho for 1 week and then go Sancho to Foden out of that. And then in game week 34, I've got a City mid, which is something I want to do. So that's kind of my loose plan, is to probably roll my transfer this week. It does mean if I do free hit in 33, I lose that free transfer. But then if I don't free hit, I've got 2 free transfers where I can still cover United and maybe Leicester or Burnley. Schmeichel or Pope or Burnley defender would be the second transfer. So Sancho plus one of them.
Transfer, Gianni. Wow.
I know. Now I could make one of those moves this week. I could go, well, if I'm going to go Schmeichel or Burnley defender, just do it this week. But I don't love it this week because I quite want to play Ramsdale against Brighton. So and it would be a goalkeeper transfer. So again, I might just have to burn it, and then I can still be fluid, which seems to be the fashionable word of choice at the moment.
Flexible.
down to I think the wire guys and scout contributors. I keep seeing the word fluid absolutely everywhere, and it's freaking me out a bit.
Yeah, now you keep saying it. I don't like it. It's like moist, isn't it? The more you hear moist, you kind of freak out a bit. Stephen Doherty wants to know if you had a wild card, when you'd think you'd use it, looking at the schedule.
34 all day long.
Absolutely.
And I would bring in a couple of United players to dead end my team in 33, knowing you can go 34, really nice stretch. I'm a bit jealous of those that still have one, to be fair, because all the drafts I've seen of those on 34 wildcards, they look amazing.
Yeah, and I think you could even take the risk of selling your City, selling your Liverpool players potentially. Yeah. Okay, maybe not City because City have got a decent game in.
You could sell your Liverpool though.
Yeah, like Salah, for example. Is like Salah. I would expect Salah to be outscored by quite a few players over the next two games, given there's doubles in 33. You know, like the United boys, they've got City in 32. I think you had to use that wild card in 31 or in 34. I don't think you can use it now or going into 33. You've missed the boat to use it early, so I would use it a bit later on. That's good strategic thinking from us for a change. Very nice. Let's have a look at your points. Let's have a look at your game week 31 so far. So you're currently on 47 points, which is decent. I've seen some horror scores out there. Jules, for example.
Jules. Yeah, she was on 20 something.
Oh, she had a bit of every bit of bad luck imaginable. Tierney missing out, Mopé missed penalty. Yeah, everything. Okay, got Ramsdale in goal. Cancelo, Reece James with a big fat 0. But Doherty coming in 14. Salah captain, disappointing with 6. Havertz, disappointing. Thought that was going to be. I nearly moved heaven and earth to bring him in, but yeah, crazy result for Chelsea. Saka 2. Rafinha, getting you some points.
Finally. The points dodger himself.
With 5. He nearly had them taken away, didn't he? FPL weren't too sure. Kulusevski with 6. And then Kane with one of the performances of the season, I thought, but only 4 points for him. And then Weghorst to play. Happy with that?
Yes, I am happy because a green is a green, a very small one at that. And Weghorst should increase that tonight, hopefully.
Get you an extra point.
I do feel a little bit unlucky with Havertz because he had a goal. The goal disallowed. He wasn't offside. He was way onside. So he wouldn't have been ruled out. It was ruled out for handball, and probably rightly so. But again, it was one of those you've seen him given. It was more just the point that it would have been a Havertz goal and a Reece James assist. And it's not very often you have that combo. And look, we sometimes have it with our Liverpool players for when we had Jota and Salah. We sometimes have it if you have Kulusevski and Kane or Son. But when you have a double return in one movement like that, and both your players are lowly owned, and look, Reece James and Havertz are both fairly differential in the top 10k, that would have been a massive win for me. So, and then bonus points as well on that probably. So I was really disappointed. And then about 5 minutes later, Havertz went like almost, it was like a 1-on-1, and it just goes wide of the post. And I was like, oh my God, this could have been a 15-pointer. But look, every manager every week will complain that they could have had X from their player. So I don't want to moan about that. And look, Havertz has sorted me out. Salah captain, I didn't care about because everyone has it. When Salah blanks, it really doesn't matter anymore, which is so boring. And Kane, I'm with you as like performance of the season, absolutely smashed it. But I had a bet on him to hit the target in each half, and I thought it was an absolute nailed bet. I don't think he even had a shot on target in the end. I lost the bet.
He was playing very, very deep. But
so deep, wasn't he? But then you still expect him to shoot, get a few shots in, and he didn't.
Yeah, he was. He has those kind of games every now and then, doesn't he? Where he's just completely happy to play, almost as a DM and just pink. But I mean, his range of passing is just like ludicrous. Like there's no forward that can ping the ball like he can. And yeah, I mean, other than De Bruyne, it's hard to think of a better passer in the league than him. Absolutely incredible. Just going back to Chelsea though, I mean, what happened though with Chelsea? Like Rudiger scores that like wonder goal, goes absolutely crazy, hugging Tuchel, roaring like mad, and then they just completely fall apart. What? I was completely shocked by that.
Chelsea haven't scored a goal that far out for something like 10 years. Like it was like 39 yards, I think it was. And he had 6 shots in that game, I think it was. Like Rudiger
the XG was on that though.
Oh yeah, 0.01. So I think someone commented saying it should have been an extra 0 before the one. But yeah, it was a mental game. At no point in that football match, did Chelsea have a higher XG than Brentford. Like when you're at home to Brentford, at no point in the game was our XG higher than theirs. That shows that we weren't unlucky. They were dominated that football match, and Chelsea were absolutely poor. And Tuchel said after the game, spoke up Havertz again, which is great to see from an FPL point of view. He called him like his warrior or something. The only player he was happy with from that entire game was Havertz. And again, like if you're sitting on the fence on Chelsea players, he is the one, and the only one probably. And then Reece James came on and went to left back. And it's like you're taking Alonso off and putting Reece James for half an hour on at left back. It's like we needed his right foot from the right. It was some weird managerial choices. The back four isn't working at all. And tonight against Real Madrid, we're recording this on Wednesday, I guarantee Chelsea go back to a 5, and I can't see us playing a 4 anytime soon because our centre-backs can't play in a 2. Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Azpilicueta when he plays, these guys are brilliant defenders in a back 3.
Yeah.
A bit like David Luiz was, a bit like Eric Dyer is at Spurs, but you put them in a 2, even Harry Maguire for England. You put them in a 2 and it's a different ball game, and they're not built for it. And Ivan Toney ran the show, and Bomo was great. Eriksen was brilliant. Yeah, Chelsea were absolutely pants. But I do think it will be a bit like that result against West Brom a year or two ago when we got hammered by West Brom away, I think it was. And it was just one of those freak results. And Chelsea can have them in defeat. But I still think we'll be very tight, keep lots of clean sheets, and win a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big couple of weeks for Chelsea. I mean, you've got Southampton away next, lose that, and Southampton aren't pushovers. You don't know what they're a bit like Chelsea. You don't really know which team's gonna kind of show up. If a good Southampton team show up and a bad Chelsea team show up, there could be a shock result there. And then it's thinking, God, is that spot? Third spot that looks so secure. Suddenly, I mean, Arsenal losing was obviously a big thing, but there's kind of teams, you've got Spurs, Arsenal, maybe even United if they can pick up a couple of wins, sort of nibbling a little bit. Then they got the Champions League. Well, they've got Champions League tonight, so Champions League, then Southampton, then the FA Cup, and then it's Arsenal at home. You think these 4 games, if they lose all these 4 games, obviously if any team loses 4 games in a row, it's going to be a disaster, but that's it, right? That's a bad season then for Chelsea. Lots to play for.
Absolutely. Like if Chelsea get knocked out to Real Madrid and then struggle versus Palace, it will be an absolute shock. I mean, if we get to the FA Cup final and get top 4, you'd probably say it's an all right season. But we've got to get to a final, whether it's Champions League or FA Cup. We've got to get to a final. So yeah, it's not been great. I think they'll be okay against Palace. They should be, because Palace won't be able to play Gallagher, who is so key in their system. But look, the Real Madrid fixtures won't be easy. Isn't it? I know, it's so harsh, but it's fair enough. I mean, you literally own the guy.
But then he can play in the Champions League against because it happened to Courtois, didn't it? He was playing against Chelsea.
Yeah. It's happened a few times in the Champions League. I remember Morientes from Monaco knocking Real Madrid out, and Real Madrid owned him.
Coutinho against Barcelona for Bayern, remember that? Came off the bench. Put an absolute worldly performance.
It's ridiculous.
It is odd. It is very odd.
I think you can in their loan contracts, you can probably write in, if we face you in Europe, you're not allowed to play. It's just most of them don't go down that route. They just ignore that. And in the Prem, they obviously all put that in.
I think the Prem's won a cup tournament. I think it's very harsh that Gallagher can't play in a semi-final, that he's helped Palace to. And if it was a final, like he wouldn't be able to play in the final just because Chelsea happened to get there as well. I don't know. It seems.
I'm sure, I might be wrong. I'm sure a few years ago, Chelsea had someone out on loan and we let them play. And it was written in that they can't play. It was then like an FA Cup tie. And we actually let the kid play. It might have been someone like an Ampdu when they were at Sheffield United. And it was like, we're going to beat them anyway. They had injury problems. Let's let the kid play. I'm sure that happened to Chelsea.
It's almost like discretionary then.
I think so, yeah.
There's no way you're letting Gallagher play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No brainer. He'll be in the Chelsea team next season. He's so good. So yeah, I don't know what to make of Chelsea. What I would say for FPL, if you're looking at Chelsea assets, I would probably hold a couple of weeks, get knocked out to Real Madrid, and then you might want to bring them in for that run in. But from someone that bought Reece James in last week, I did that knowing the risks. I probably wouldn't be buying Reece James this week. I probably wouldn't go there now. But last week it felt like he could go and get 15, 20 points against Brentford, so it was almost worth the risk.
It's my favourite run, I think, from game week 35. I think it's my favourite run for Chelsea. Everton, and then 2 doubles potentially in a row, and then Watford at home on the final day of the season. Like it doesn't get much better than that. So purely from an FPL point, well, I say purely, I'm also not a massive fan of Chelsea anyway, but I would like to see them get knocked out of some competitions just to make this run, better, and then I can invest in their players a bit more happily. Although, so having said that, I haven't got James, I haven't got Havertz, I haven't really got easy ways to bring them in. So maybe it's better if they stay in and
someone else goes there. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a funny one. Like if they get knocked out, we could see a place where they get a few weeks where they play only once a week. The performance levels change completely, and we're seeing that with Spurs. Spurs are not in Europe for the first time since forever. They're not playing Thursday night Channel 5 football. And look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane gets to play one game a week, and he's not carrying all these knocks, and he absolutely delivers. And Arsenal the same. They're not in Europe, and look how good they've been till recently. United should be doing the same. They're not. But don't underestimate the fact you're playing once a week. And I love that in FPL. Premium players that play once a week at the end of the season, I've always wanted to target. And that's why we all have triple Spurs.
Well, look at Spurs' run. I mean, talk about good runs for Chelsea. I mean, Spurs have got Villa, Brighton, Brentford, Leicester, and then a double, Liverpool and Arsenal. Okay, it's not the best 2 games, but it's still a double. Yeah. And then they seal off the season with Burnley and Norwich. I mean, I remember we did the video a few weeks ago talking about, you put Spurs in the top 4. I had Arsenal, but you backed them to have an unbeaten April, right?
Yeah.
Or win. No, I think you even said win every game.
I said win all but one and get top 4 by 1 point.
Yeah, that's it.
They're allowed to lose one game, and I think it was against Liverpool I put down.
That's right. Lose. Yeah, but their April fixtures are Villa, Brighton, Brentford, Leicester. And I saw that you put a win for all of those games, and I was like, oh, they're not going to win all those games. But I look at them now, I think it's
possible.
It's probably Brentford that's the banana skin in that now. Yeah. Seeing now what they've done against Chelsea. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, Doherty, what did you make of Doherty? Because obviously Reguilon was out. He switched it over to left wing back. I've seen quite a few people benching him. Lots of wildcarders didn't go with him on the wildcard. Kind of maybe thought his time was over, but looking a good option, right?
Yeah, like first choice right back without doubt, but definitely in the top 2 fullbacks at the club. So if he has to play left back, he plays left back. And do you know what? I like him slightly more at left back. And that's it's weird because obviously you'd rather see him deliver on his right, but there is a little bit of theory to this. When he plays left wing back, he's got Ben Davies behind him, who's pretty solid, like covers pretty well. Doherty runs on. Romero plays a little bit more advanced, and because of that, eats into a little bit of that space. So actually, that's why in the last few months, we've always looked at the Spurs left wing back and gone, they're getting more chances than the Spurs right wing back. Why is Reguilon more attacking than Emerson Royale? Seems to be that they do better down their left-hand side. Now, that could be because of the centre-backs, could be because of Son's positioning as well. It could be because Kulusevski on the right stays wide while Son drifts in, and that means the left-sided wing-back is slightly more attacking. But yeah, Doherty on the left, as we saw at the weekend, super attacking. And 4.7, I know he's not getting clean sheets, but he will. He'll get a few. Even if he doesn't, he's getting bonus and he's getting attacking returns.
What a turnaround for him. I mean, there's Jacob Griffin in the chat saying Doherty is essential for the rest of the season with those fixtures. Would you ever have thought in a million years we'd be saying that Matt Doherty this season would be essential in our FPL team? It is.
And Conte loves wing backs. Conte likes quality, and I guarantee
him and Alonso to me, they are like the wing backs, right?
yeah. If you want attacking positions in your wing backs, there. But I guarantee next season in the summer, Conte's shopping list for transfers, top of the list will be 2 new wing backs. Whilst they've been good because the system's good. They're not standout players. Doherty is every inch the Wolves player still. He is not a top 4 player, and Conte knows it. But for the time being, he's very close, as Lee Skip says, to essential, or as Jacob says.
Hakimi coming in maybe if they get top 4.
Yeah, imagine.
Right, team. Let's see. Look at team for Gameweek 32. So you've got Ramsdale in goal. You've got Cancelo, James, and Doherty playing. Salah, Havertz, Saka, Rafinha, Kulusevski, Weghorst, and Kane. So you've got a sea of blue, except for obviously the clash between Salah and Cancelo in that massive game. Your bench though: Foster, Broja, Amity, fine. Got Trent on there.
I have.
What's going on?
I'm pretty set in my ways on the defenders over Trent. There's no way I would go Trent over Cancelo, James, or Doherty. I don't think.
Why wouldn't you go Trent over Cancelo though?
Cancelo's at home. Cancelo's more likely to get a clean sheet, I think. I could see Man City keeping a clean sheet in that football match. I cannot see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet. Even Benfica opened them up a few times last night. City are a better defensive side than Liverpool. And yes, attacking returns, you could argue Trent is more likely than Cancelo, but I don't think we're going to see a 3-4. I think we could see a 1-0. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Trent blank this week. Look, there's a big argument to say Trent should be in my 11, but it wouldn't be over Cancelo or Doherty or James. It would probably be over Weghorst. And again, if Weghorst is rubbish tonight, maybe I go with the back four and just play Kane up top and bench Weghorst. Weghorst has Norwich, though. And Norwich, I mean, how many chances did Brighton produce against Norwich? Was it 31 attempts?
31 shots. Yeah.
So surely that's good for Weghorst. I know it's at Carrow Road, but it's at the moment, it's a toss of a coin between Trent and Weghorst.
If it was any other fixture other than Norwich, I'd say you were mad for playing Weghorst. You know what? Over the last 6 game weeks, Weghorst is 30th out of forwards for XGI. And wow. I think you'd be hard pressed to name me 29 other forwards in the league.
Yeah.
So for Weghorst to be that low when he's regularly playing, it's just a big concern. But it's Norwich, and Norwich concede loads of chances, and it's a big game for Burnley. And they need players to step up, and that classic, it's a FA Cup final, that kind of stuff. I hate all that, but if Burnley don't beat Norwich, they're done. It doesn't matter. They could play Everton tonight and win. If they don't beat Norwich, they're done.
Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah, massive game for them. I'm expecting them to win it. But yeah, interesting. What do you make? So the City Liverpool match, you're on the side of City. Then you think City are going to win that?
Yeah, I like home advantage in that game, and I think City are a better team than Liverpool. And I think I think there's vulnerabilities to Liverpool defensively, and I've thought this for a while, which is probably why I didn't go Robbo, which is crazy because you're not buying Robbo for the clean sheet. But every time I watch Liverpool, I always think they can concede. Yeah, I watch City, and I don't know what their XGC is, the comparison, but I almost guarantee. Well, I can guarantee City's is better than Liverpool's. I don't know if it's marginal, but City are a better defence. Like, City hog the ball so much, they concede so few shots. And I often think that clean sheet is nailed. Yet when I watch Liverpool, even again last night against Benfica, not a great attack. Benfica could have got a couple. There's just a slip up there. And I think for that reason, Man City score. And look, Liverpool probably score, but I back City over Liverpool.
So you've got Salah in your side.
Yeah.
He's been... There's kind of a lot of talk about him on Twitter and on Scout at the moment. There's kind of thoughts about, do we need him for the end of the season with the amount of tournaments Liverpool was still in? He hasn't been getting massive returns other than that kind of double game week where he hit crazy amounts. But in terms of open play goals, I think he scored is it 1 or something since he's got back from AFCON? Something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about, if you're thinking about wildcarding in 34 or let's say you're going to free hit kind of around that time, is there any sense you think in moving Salah? I'm seeing some people considering Salah to Son, for example, for those who don't have the 3 Spurs already.
If I was on a wild card in 34, he'd definitely be part of my team. But what I would say is towards the last game week of the season or the last couple, I wouldn't mind bringing him out for very isolated periods, probably more so around free hits. Like, I'm looking at free hits and thinking, if I'm squeezing in extra premiums, maybe he becomes my sacrificial lamb. And I cover him with Mane, or I cover him with Jota, or I cover him with Diaz. And when you're on free hit, you'll be able to look at the fixtures before and go, Salah played 90 in the Champions League. Diaz came off the bench and got 30, looked amazing. Diaz is going to start in the Premier League this weekend. Salah might too, but Diaz will, and I can take a punt on him. So you might be able to cover those Salah points by much cheaper. If we're talking Jota and Diaz money, 5-6 million saved by going there. And I'm thinking with both my free hits, there is a good chance Salah isn't there. But I guarantee a Liverpool attacker will be, not just to try and cover those points, but as an attacking move. Because you look last night again, Diaz got man of the match. He got 90 minutes. Salah came off at 60. Salah came off at 60 again in the week, at the weekend. Like, Mane looked better than him again last night. Jota at the weekend looked better than Salah. There's huge competition for places there. And he is definitely having a bit of a dip, but he's still Mo Salah.
Yeah. The big question for me is we talked about those Spurs fixtures, which are incredible to the end of the season. The beauty of having Salah in your team has been that kind of reliable, consistent, don't have to think about it. He's just my captain every week. But if Liverpool, they're probably going to qualify in the Champions League. It's they've already won the first match, and it's another winnable tie for them. FA Cup is 50-50 playing City, so you don't know who's going to qualify through that. And then you look at the fixtures. I mean, Man City, United. Okay, then they've got Everton and Newcastle, but that's sandwiched around the tie with Bayern. Is probably going to be right. We're expecting that. So then it's a double, Tottenham and Villa. And then it's Southampton, which could move depending on FA Cup, and Wolves. I'm looking at that run and thinking, okay, Everton at home that's Salah. That's in 34. That's Salah captain, right? I mean, Spurs have got Brentford away. It's still a good fixture, but there's no way I'm not captaining a Liverpool player in that. But other than that, I think you can captain Kane or Son in almost every other game this season. And if you're not captaining Salah, can you use the money to, improve the rest of your squad?
Yeah. And the other thing is, if Salah isn't going to be massively, massively captained, for those of you that do care about effective ownership, it's not a scary proposition going without Salah, because everyone's going to have the armband, I think, as you're right, if Spurs are scoring 4 goals every game, 5 goals every game, you're going to go Kane and Son as your default captains, especially when the fixtures are better as well.
You know what you're getting. You know you're going to get 90 minutes from them every
no
match.
Midweek games, no niggles, no fear of being injured or rotated or getting 60, as you say. So yeah, I'm with you there. Like, I'd consider it. I still think on Wildcard I'd probably go with Salah. But as I say, for those isolated 1 week punts or the last couple of games of the season, or when you're dead ending your team, or if you're on a free hit, I think Diaz, Jota, Mane, look at all of them. Diaz for me might become the standout, although I think he will play a lot of the Champions League minutes. Jota maybe more in the Prem. Guys in the chat, by the way, for saying about the Liverpool not scoring, I'll have to watch it back. If I said I don't think Liverpool will score, I take that back. Like, I could, of course, see Liverpool scoring against Man City. What I did say, and I remember saying this, was I wouldn't be surprised to see City keep a clean sheet, and I think City are more likely to keep a clean sheet than Liverpool. For that reason, I prefer Cancelo over Trent.
It is such an interesting match, because they've had 1-0 in the last 6 matches, and normally with a big game like this, you think it's going to be cagey and it's going to be tight. I can't see it being cagey and tight. I think it's going to be, I think Liverpool. Was
it 2-2 early in the season? It was when Foden scored.
2-2.
Yeah, it was the game I bought Foden in for.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool know how to get at City, right? And they've got the players to do it. Spurs got at City by just counter-attacking football. And Liverpool are going to do that. They know how to exploit those kind of gaps well. And City are going to have to. I don't know how City, what the game plan is going to be with it. Are they going to try and push up and press? But that risks them being caught out. Or do they drop deep? But then if you allow Liverpool too much space and time, they're going to create chances. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be such a good game. It really is. And I very much think it's going to decide the title. I think if either team, if it's a draw, okay, it goes right to the wire. But I think the team that wins it wins the league. And I know Klopp's kind of playing that down, but I don't know. I think it's it.
You're right, Az. But I don't know if it's completely that cut and dry, but it definitely plays a massive, huge part, because these teams just don't drop points. They don't drop points outside of this fixture. We think that they wouldn't be surprised if both teams went and won every game. They did that. Was it 2 years ago with the title race when Liverpool pipped them? And it was just every week we were seeing win. The same 11 every week.
City won it.
City win?
Liverpool drew, I think, 0-0 with Everton.
Oh, Liverpool won the Champions League, didn't they?
Yeah,
and City won. Yeah.
Liverpool won. Liverpool dropped points against Everton, and it was basically City. It was if City win every game between now and the end of the season, they win the league. And it was there's 8 games left. Not going to do that. And both teams won every match,
right,
until the end. It was absolutely unbelievable. Yeah,
I think it must have been the 1920 season, I'm guessing. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. But yeah, and Liverpool won the champs that year. City won the league, and both teams were just machines. Well, I think we're seeing that same level again. They are both just insane.
Yep, absolutely. Skip Bayless asks about Palace and Everton assets. I mean, we've spoken a couple of times about Mateta and Edouard and these kind of guys, and been a bit worried about their kind of minutes. But Mateta's starting to creep into my thinking a little bit.
I've been banging that drum for a while, Mateta. I think he's the best budget forward in the game, and I just like that Palace attack. And Gameweek 37. Better than Broja? I do. If I was on a wild card, I'd be Mateta all day long. Yeah, and I love Broja. I actually considered that for a transfer. If I was free hitting in 33, that would be a transfer I'd make now. So yeah, I think game week 37, they've both got nice fixtures, right? Palace and Everton. So I think we identify them. And especially if I'm looking at 36, 38 free hits, then I will almost certainly have a Palace and an Everton, probably attacker, because I like DCL for that double game week in 37. They're both home games. One of them is Everton-Brentford, and that's a game randomly. I'm on a stag do in Liverpool that weekend. So I'm going to Everton-Brentford, I hope. I need to get tickets still. But again, like if I'm at the game, I want to be invested in it. So I like Everton attack. I wouldn't go near Everton defence. I know a few have gone Pickford on some drafts.
Hang on, sorry. You like Everton attack? Did those words just come out of your lips?
Sorry. Yeah, I do for a punt at the end of the season in that double of 37. I like the home games. But outside of DCL, I must admit, when I say I like attack, I like the idea of DCL. Palace, there's all sorts of players you can go for. When Elise is fit, as someone that recently sold Elise and had him and got some good assists from him, he's lightning. He's so good. Zaha will get points and is on pens. Mateta's starting pretty much every game. That front three is dangerous. I'd look at all those three players over Gallagher, who I love, but I think it's harder to predict his points, Gallagher. Sure, the set piece threat is there with him, but no, I'd look at Zaha, Elise and Mateta first.
Yeah, I think Mateta's coming in for me either this week or next. He's because I've got the bench boost to think about.
Okay.
He's a perfect kind of bench boost striker. His emergence has kind of come at the perfect time because it is him or Cucho Hernandez of Watford.
Bro has a double though in 33.
He does. I mean,
you don't even know if he's going to play both those games, though. Ralph Hasenhüttl likes to rotate, and especially if he's not playing against Chelsea. If I don't know, Adam Armstrong comes in and has a really good game, Broja could lose a spot quite easily.
Yeah, still not convinced on him. I think I'd rather have Mateta. Newcastle away in that 33, getting the double. I don't know. It's all kind of a bit open. I guess Broja, if you're looking purely at 33, probably still is the best option. I mean, Arsenal at home. How ropey they looked against Palace, and then Burnley. Yeah. It's good fixtures. Southampton have got a good run actually, and then they've got Brighton, then they've got Palace, and they've got Brentford and Leicester on the final day. So investing in Southampton, ahead of that double probably isn't too bad.
It's just the doubles after 33, and we're also blinkered by them, as you say. Like maybe just look at the fixtures and go, they're good, solid fixtures. It doesn't matter too much about the fact they don't double in 36 or 37. Same with Brentford.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that's it, Gianni. Covered. So what's your move? Sorry. So what's your move this way? You're just going to hold the transfer?
I think I'm going to hold the transfer. It's such a tough one because I want to plan what I'm doing in 33, but I'm going to give it some more thought. If I think I'm going to free hit in 33, then I will. If I think that's 75% likely or above, I will make a transfer this week so I can use it. And I'm thinking that transfer could be a goalkeeper transfer. I might go for Schmeichel or Pope. I don't love Arsenal defence now with Tierney out as well and seeing what Palace did to them. I don't think Ramsdale is like the best option anymore. So I wouldn't be opposed to Pope or Schmeichel. But again, I look at it and think it's so dependent on 33. If I don't free hit in 33, my transfers next week, I could then go Ramsdale down to Schmeichel and Havertz up to Sancho leaves me with 0.1 in the bank. So I've got enough to make that move. So I could bring in two double game week players in a Leicester asset that I know will play both games. Probably the only one we can say will definitely play both those games is Schmeichel. And then Havertz whilst I'd be losing Havertz with a heavy heart, I'd still bring him back for when I free hit in both those free hits if Chelsea double. Havertz goes to Sancho. I probably captain Sancho, which is rogue, but they have a double and I might back him against Norwich. And then Sancho in 34 can go straight to Foden, which is definitely a move I want. I want a Man City midfielder in for 34. They have Watford.
Watford at home, yeah.
Yeah. And I think last night was proof that Foden's going to be playing pretty much every game. He started the last 8 Premier League games, Foden. This rotation risk nonsense over Foden is kind of, look, every player will miss 1 or 2 games under Pep. He's pretty nailed. Certainly in the Premier League, I think. So I think Havertz, Sancho, Foden might be that spot.
Yep. Nice. Well, sounds like you've planned well, Gianni.
I've planned a lot, but I'm not convinced on any plan as. No. I like that Sancho, Foden plan, but if I free hit that week, then that goes out the window because a free hit team might not even have Sancho in it. Might have Bruno Ronaldo. I just need to see United play against Everton this weekend and go, that's the United team I want to invest in on a free hit, and reason to free hit because they've gone and scored 4 or 5 goals, or they look rubbish in attack still. I can't bank on them even scoring against Norwich. I'm certainly not wasting a free hit to invest in United when one of their games is against Liverpool.
It could go either way, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nice. Well, we've done 40 minutes. One of our longer ones on this, but yeah, loads to talk about. If you enjoyed this, like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well. We will be back again next week ahead of the double game week. So that'll be interesting. The kind of the less I think the least exciting. We've got 3 double game weeks left, probably, maybe 4. I think Villa might have one in 35, but I think this one is pretty 36 and 37 are going to be more exciting, I think. But
yeah,
we'll try and do what we can to. I mean, if you're going to be bringing in Jadon Sancho, then that's about as exciting as it's going to get.
Hey, I might be on a free hit. If I'm on a free hit, it will make it exciting. But the fear with free hit 33, as I think someone recently said in the chat, this is why I'm so hesitant. Your normal team could very easily outscore that free hit team, and it's very rare you do that in a big double game week where you free hit, you think you're going to be up. I can't guarantee I'm even going to be up.
Yeah, agreed. Nice one. Right, we'll be back next week. Thanks everyone for watching and listening, and we will see you soon.
See you guys.